Today's video, we're going to talk about 3 drills that could actually ruin your golf swing. And there may be a chance you're doing these drills now or have thought about doing them, maybe doing all 3 of them. We're going to show you why they could be damaging, maybe give you some alternatives instead of these 3 drills. So the first drill, and I'm sure you've all seen it.
The guy comes in.
Yep.
And he's hitting balls. We're capturing on gears and video. And he's talking about something with his pivot, but the thing that stands out to me is his right arm is completely pinned to his body, and his left arm, his arms are basically like a straitjacket going back and through.
Yeah, it was to the point where he had shoulder tilt, shoulder tilt, shoulder tilt. Then as he was trying to make enough backswing, the shoulder had to tilt the opposite way just to get the club high enough. And it was really, and again, he was focusing down here, but come to find out, this drill he had done years ago.
Exactly.
For a lot of reps, and it just kind of got baked in and left in there.
And this is a drill that's been taught for a long time. I know, granted, it's not too bad for short shots, but I'm holding a towel here at LFG, Matt Every.
Matt Every, shout out.
We like him. Thanks for the towel. So the drill is the towel drill. That's why we've got it out here. Mm-hmm. And it's been done for years. You just wrap it. I mean, I did it when I was a kid.
Right.
A lot of times, but the way you want to do it is just with these little swings. If you start carrying this drill, trying to make full swings, you can see what it does to your arms. It gets them too low and too inside.
Right. If you think about where the arms are, it's set up, right? So if I'm in my address position and I just raise up, my arm is elevated off my ribs, right? To keep that towel in place, or how we see a lot of golfers keeping that towel in place, is actually pulling the arm into them, right? Because the towel may be down, and that's the opposite. The arm should come up in the backswing, right? It bends and comes up in the backswing. When you do the opposite of that, you're asking for trouble. And we see the fingerprints of that all the time in lessons.
Yeah, it's a double whammy too, even on the follow through, because they try to make some kind of finish and it ends up being this almost like sawed off, because they're afraid, oh, I'm supposed to keep my arms connected, but it causes more problems than it really helps.
It leads to another very poor concept, which is that you can just turn your body and square the face.
Yeah.
That's never happened in the history of golf.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think the concept what Mike's saying is like, if I just pin my arms to my body and turn, it's somehow going to magically square the face. The face is rotating at a rate that's a lot faster than what this is turning at.
We've got a lot of forearm and wrist data from the best players in the world. Not a single one of them is not moving the forearms and the wrist through impact. So if the concept is to get rid of the club movement, right, hands movement, and just turn the body to square the face, stop doing that, because it doesn't happen. And if the concept is to keep the arms down because maybe I'm wild off the tee or whatever, that'll certainly shrink the swing, but you're giving up the advantage of using the arms correctly.
Exactly. And I think the first time I saw it was in the old Hogan book, and just really tying everything together. But it may have been a feel for him. His arms are getting up some in his full swing, so he's really not keeping the elbow pinned to the side the entire swing. There needs to be some elevation on the backswing to get that trail arm up where it can work down correctly on the downswing.
Yeah, and Ben Hogan had arms that his elbow was down past his pocket.
Long wingspan for his height.
Yes. As an alternative to that, we'll still use the towel sometimes, right? Yeah. We just want we'll put it under the trail arm. We just want to see that towel fall out.
Yeah, so you might keep it in there up to about right here in this spot, but your arms are working up and away. So they work here, up in this direction. So if you do that, that arm's going to come up almost to where it's level to the ground. That towel should drop.
Let me have you put your back to this camera.
Sure.
Okay, and just make a normal backswing.
So it'll be like that.
Yeah, so you want to kind of visualize and feel kind of the bottom of your tricep there somewhat level to the ground. That's a good target, and you'll see that over and over again if you look at players on tour, and if you can really see it from that behind view. If you just feel like, and it's not this kind of a lift that it takes, it's just something like this. But again, that would drop the towel rather than pinch it in there. And
the good part about that is if you've been guilty of kind of pinning and coming over, which is this gentleman did that exact move, right? Yep. Pin the right arm and spun it out over. If you go up a little, now you've got some room to shallow this club and lower the hands down, which helps the pivot kind of kick in.
That's a great point. From the top to left arm parallel, lead arm parallel in the downswing, your trail arm, for the best players in the world, their trail arm, lowers more than it lifts in that window. So that's a huge shallowing component that you're taking off the table if you try to pin it in the backswing. So that's drill number 1. Use your towel for your hands and your club. Don't use it for your swing. Let's go. Real quick, if you could use more consistency in your golf game, and that's one of the most asked questions golfers have when they come see us, we've got the video just for you. Click on the first link in the pinned comment or description below. We're going to send you our drill to help you shore up your consistency, be more consistent for your next round of golf. Just click on that link, tell us where to send it. Now let's get you back to the video. Our second drill is one that you and I have spent a lot of time doing ourselves. And it's one that we saw again this week in lessons. The golfer came in, just could not get forward shaft lean at impact. Kept seeing a flip, kept seeing a flip. So he's been diligently, this is one of those things where this is what he was doing the day before he came in, diligently doing this drill to get rid of the flip. He could do it in the drill, but as soon as you removed the stick, it was back to normal. For a very good reason.
It's one of those drills that, oh, this should work great because as long as I keep it off my hip, I should be able to get my hands up and not scoop and flip it. But the problem is it's really not reality, because immediately after the hit, every good player, this would slice the middle of my body and go right through me.
Right.
So having this on here causes you to have to plow the hands so much that it's really unplayable. It's not a playable motion.
No, it's not reality, right? Because again, that's what it kind of looks like from this face-on view. From what you're doing in your view, the hands stay on the trail side of the body.
Exactly.
Now, let's have you go back to address.
Yeah.
All right, go to impact. Okay, so at impact, this exactly happens. This stick will be off your rib cage on your left side. Let's go about another foot. Okay, this stick would now be, I'm going to squeeze it down a little bit, pointing right back at you. And we go another foot. Now the stick is on your trail side. Okay, that's what happens.
It's back that way again.
Yes. Okay, so trying to kind of never let that club release. Again, you and I have done millions of reps like this.
It's one of those drills that just doesn't transfer very well.
No.
You know, if it's one of those drills where you might be able to figure out how to do it with the stick here, but it's so unplayable as you start, even like imagine trying to hit a driver or something and you're holding this thing all the way through it. It's not playable.
Well, to your point, I'm going to borrow your stick for a second. So this is easy to see from this angle. So this is impact. To miss me, I have to pull my hands across my body, kind of like the wiper across my body. Impact is here, and then my right side turns. So my hands never really get across my body until it comes through here, and then this stick would cut you in half.
It's such an optical illusion.
Yes.
And we feel for you because I spent a lot of time doing this drill. I mean, I think I spent an entire summer hitting these kind of shots, to the point now where I did it so much that I have to constantly monitor. We have gears and we can measure everything, right? So, you know, I know the average tour player has about 7 degrees of shaft lean with a mid-iron, right? I mean, I'm up into the 13s without, you know, you get to that point with this drill, if you do it enough, you can't get your long irons up in the air.
Well, it's hard to get any of the irons high enough.
Exactly. Like, I'm a pretty good wedge player, but man, when I get in the bottom, you know, the 3 or 4 iron, even 5 iron, I have a hard time getting the height on it. So my feel now is the opposite. I have to feel like it points back at me right there. And that's not a flip or a scoop. That's just normal club swinging motion.
Yes.
Your body keeps up with it. That's what it gets it just look like it's going around the corner. But it's not going around the corner because you're dragging it all the way with this stick.
Pulling the arms across.
There's not one player in our database that does that. No, there's a lot of players where you see the club go around the corner. Everybody loves that look, right?
Right.
But it's not done by dragging the stick around. The pivot's going and the club is swinging this whole time.
Do that facing the camera.
Yeah, the club is doing this. Every good player does this. I don't care who you are.
The club's being thrown.
I don't care who you are. It's a throw, right?
Okay.
But someone that knows how to pivot and shift their weight, the throw happens there, not there.
Right.
Right? So long as that's pointed back at me, look how normal that looks from over here. The hands are here, club's outside the hands like everybody likes.
And it's going to exit left like you see every good player do.
Once I figured that out, my whole game kind of changed.
Thinking about this from your perspective, right, makes all the difference than thinking about it from face-on perspective, because my hands on my trail leg, right, nobody wants impact with their hands on their trail leg. Well, I don't fix that by pulling my hands across me. I fix that by just moving my trail side forward. Now my hands to the camera look like they're on my front leg. They never moved relative to my back leg. That's the light bulb for a lot of golfers.
If you remember, the swing is an optical illusion, and what you see on a 2D or a camera, freeze frame, or a video,
A stationary camera.
just not necessarily how the player is making the club look like that. It's hard to wrap your head around, but if you open your mind a little bit and say, oh, I see what they mean. The trail hip brings the club around. I'm not shoving my hands to get there. That'll be a game changer if you can kind of open that up in your mind.
So the more current, or I say not even current, the more realistic view of this drill is to still imagine that stick being there at impact. Now the stick's pointing right dead at my navel here at about 2-3 feet past impact. And by the time the shaft gets parallel to the ground again, that stick is now on my trail side of the body missing me rather than being propped out there.
It's funny too. I'm gonna make one more quick point about Hogan. You know, let's say he made a big divot and you see a picture or something like that, right?
Yes.
So the interesting part about that, you know, you could freeze frame that. So, oh, he's got his hand shoved up. Well, you forgot about the divot for one thing.
Yes.
Because that's a lot of resistance if he's beaten down on something. But there's a video and a freeze frame picture of Hogan. They must have been doing something for a magazine, and he had to hit off a rubber tee with an iron. The club, immediately after impact, looks like that.
Normal, yeah.
So that tells you.
There's pictures of Bryson with the big beaver pelt for a divot in his hands like this. You got to realize how violently the club head slows down when it slaps the ground, especially certain turf conditions.
And Bryson's a good example. You could find that picture of him. I've seen ones where he kind of like less divot. He lines it up so good.
Lines it up. Yeah, that's how you hit the ball.
He hits it high
way
and
up
far.
in the air.
Especially now, get the ball up in the air so it stops on the green. You get more distance. But by no means are we telling you to flip. It's just learning to get the throw to happen where you want it.
Exactly right. All right, number 3 is usually done. We see this done all the time. In fact, the golfer that came in Monday told us this was his favorite drill. Come in. All right, what brings you in? Why are you here? You know, how can we help you? He goes, I'm just having a heck of a time trying to get open. Right, we hear that a lot. Not able to get my chest open, not able to get my hips open. Well, what have you been working on to try to do that? He goes, well, my favorite drill is, he goes, I went out and bought a hockey stick, put it across my shoulders, and I just work on getting myself side bent and my chest 90 degrees to an impact bag, and I just do that all the time. And I'm just like, well, is that working? And he goes, I don't think so.
Well, let's measure it.
I said, well, have you ever been measured? No, I've never been measured. That's why I'm here. So he was right. He wasn't open.
It was actually closed.
Shoulders were closed at impact. No matter how many reps of this is done, the reason this drill is harmful to the golf swing and not working for him especially is it's so far removed from the reality of what happens in the golf swing. So, you know, we can spend a week's worth of videos talking about feel versus real and how to implement all that. But the idea of getting your chest 90 degrees with enough side bend to point this down at impact, you've got a quarter of a second to go from basically 90 degrees the other direction. So you're trying to move it 180 degrees in a quarter of a second. You're going to get started this way, you know, the steepness comes out, and then you're going to have to stop all that turn to try to hit a somewhat playable shot.
You got to fit the club in at some point.
There's the reality of what the best players in the world do, the most rotated players in the world do, is so far from 90 degrees hip turn, chest turn, anything at impact.
It's not close.
It's not even close. So this guy was practicing. We know a lot of golfers do this drill 3 times an exaggeration of what actually happens. And we asked him to go, okay, we know that's a drill. Show us where you should be, where good players are. And he went to 70 degrees at impact. So it just completely distorted his perception of where he needed to get to.
If we know that good players tend to match their side bend and their rib cage rotation. If it's too much side bend, they're a little bit stuck, right? So if you thought about it, if I'm going to be 90 degrees open like that stick, I'd have to be 90 degrees side bend and basically have a 90 degree bend. And this is what we see these people posing: 90 open, 90 side bend, 90 right arm, and it's not possible.
You're asking yourself to do something that's, one, massively unnecessary,
It's
two,
gonna end up-
physically going to hurt yourself.
Exactly. It's not necessary. You're going to hurt yourself. And if you see this, you see it a lot on the internet, right?
Yep.
You say, oh, but people are doing it. Well, if they get anywhere close, you see this weird kind of sawed-off finish, and there's no way to make a normal-looking move doing that.
No, well, the pull, whether it's pull or pull draw or pull slice or pull hook, the pull is the new slice. You see
100%.
golfer after golfer coming in, hit pulls.
I got one more thing to say about that. So if you do attempt that, a lot of times what happens, and I see guys posing this, they back the trail hip up, which is just not what we see in the best players in the world. I got a whole database full of it.
It's the opposite.
It's fine. Sometimes you're looking for a feel, but this one does not transfer that well to the swing. The guys that we have had come in trying to do this particular one, they're never open because their club gets so steep just from the thought of that.
Again, you've got to get a head start on this when you've got, roughly 90 close to try to get 180 degrees from that.
At 0.2.
In 0.2 seconds. The
Not
tour players aren't asking themselves to do that. So what we did with this player is we said, okay, this is going to be much, much easier to do than what you're trying to do.
Do less.
So do less, right? So go to the top, get yourself, that's about 15, 20 degrees open. We worked with a tour winner from this year, super high club head speed. It's 13 degrees open with his chest at impact, 14 degrees of side bend. There's not one of you watching this video that cannot do that. Okay?
It's true.
But again, it's what you're trying to do, a lot of cases that are keeping you do it. So getting him 14 degrees open, matching the side bend with that's impact. That when he did that, he was like, I can't believe it's that little of amount. Because again, he was, you could hear him grunting, taking his breath away, trying to get to 90. And this is a guy, in his late 60s.
Yeah,
trying to put himself in a pretzel move to do that.
You made a good point. It's like, is there some outliers out there that do some kind of unique,
maybe? We haven't measured every golfer alive.
But for the average guy, 60-year-old guy, let's say, or average golfer that's not a really young person that moves perfectly, anywhere close to that is not going to happen.
Now, you can put juniors in these kind of body bends because they just move like Gumby anyway. And you should swing however you want. We're not telling you how to swing.
This is what we've noticed.
We're sharing with you what's real with really high level players versus what we see golfers who want those same movements are actually trying to do to get there. And those two are butting heads. Okay, so having the proper concept and knowing, okay, I just get my chest somewhere close to 20 degrees open, I'm going to be in the same company with guys who've won a handful of PGA tournaments.
It just makes so
Some
much
of the
sense
best players
to me.
in the world.
It would be a relief to me if I was working on it, and it has been. I've had some bad lessons over the years. I've talked about that before.
We both have.
It's become a relief to me, all this gears data that we have, I'll take swings in the gear system probably once a month. Because,
Right.
I mean, we're golf nerds.
Why not? It's here.
And we're nerds, so we want to help our own swings more than anything else. Well, yours first, ours second.
Close second.
But it's been a relief to me to know, like, oh, wow, I don't really have to get all contorted. I'm in the middle of the sweet spot here with the range of what these really great players are doing, and I really sometimes I'm having to do less, especially with that, the shaft lean part. I mean, the fact that I can just kind of let it go now and hit the ball up in the air, it's been amazing for me to
That's
get
a great
that in my
point
head.
because we've seen guys trying to do all three of these. I mean, imagine the contortions that takes to not let the right arm lift, throw the handle way forward, and get massively open and side bent coming into the ball. You're just, again, you can do whatever you want. We're just telling you, high-end golfers, it's way easier of a physical movement than what we see amateurs trying to do.
Like Mike said, you don't have to do everything we say. We're just trying to help with the knowledge that we've gained, the golfers we've helped, thousands and thousands of people. What seems to help people the most, the easiest, and help them get better fast, and that's what we're trying to do.
That's exactly right. Just operating in normal, and it's a shame that normal also
Not
equals
cool anymore.
also equals what elite golfers do, but People want to go beyond that for some reason.
What's the matter with Tiger swing? What's the,
Adam Scott. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's Tiger. It just,
and Aberg now.
They all move in the same windows.
Very normal looking swing.
Yes.
Maybe he's going to bring that cool back to it.
I don't know. But anyways, if it's tough for you to physically do, if you're not seeing it in your real swing, you got to step back and look. Okay, what is my concept? Maybe that's my hurdle here. Not that I can physically not get my shoulders, chest 15 degrees open.
It's the signals and ideas that you're sending to the body
Asking
that
yourself
totally gets you off track.
Yeah. What is the kind of final fix we gave this golfer as far as it was mainly just a concept change, and it made it much easier for him to get open, just knowing where the normal range was.
Yeah, the fix for this guy, he had to understand how to get the arms working down correctly so he could actually get his body to open the right amount.
Because you have to have a reason to rotate.
Yeah, you're a slave to where this is.
That's exactly right. If that club's out of position because you're trying to get 90 degrees open, you're going to stop that in the real swing because you got to hit the target.
Yeah, your brain's job is to make the ball go there to the target.
Yes.
It's going to do the best it can, and it's really good at it.
So when you have the club in a good position, like show that again from down the line where we had him.
Got it. He was coming down this way because he's trying to get open, and that was his move.
Mm-hmm.
We got him to feel where the arms and wrists move. As he rotated, he could put it kind of in the slot, right? And that carried through the impact, and he had just a normal amount.
And it's a guy, again, in his late 60s, making this change just largely because of the concept was different and it was easier for him to do. So again, assess what you're doing. If you have any questions about drills you're doing, you're not sure if they're good or not, hit us up in the comments. We'd love to help.
Yeah, we'll shoot a video.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be happy to make a video for you. And just be safe when you're doing some of these extreme, exaggerated movements. Make sure they're kind of close to normal ranges of motion. If not, there's a good chance you're going to hurt yourself, and then that's not going to be good for your game at all.
Yeah, some drills carry over well to the full swing, some don't.
Some don't. Today's video, we're going to talk about 3 drills that there's a good chance you may be doing already, maybe doing all 3 of them. That could actually.
Could actually. Hey, could it actually?